You know, 2016 was also a year in which the many issues surrounding social change and justice were in sharp focus. A North Carolina law that came to be known as the bathroom bill sparked a series of protests in March, the reverberations of which have continued to today. And once again, a harsh spotlight shone on the killings of black men by police, such as Alton Sterling in Louisiana, Philando Castile in Minnesota.
What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Justice!
The Black Lives Matter protest that began in 2015 marched on into another year, and professional athletes began to take a stand, or knee, starting with 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick during the national anthem. But with growing distrust in communities, police too were targeted, including 5 officers who were gunned down during a protest in Dallas. You know, Judge Gertner, it seems to me that 2016 proved the answer to Rodney King's question was, we can't all get along. Is there any evidence to the contrary? I mean, you're either for the police or you're for the young black men who were shot. There's almost no place in the middle here.
Well, I think it exposed a fault line. There was no question about it. And it was a fault line that, as you said before, Donald Trump certainly, capitalized on. There was no question about it. There is a middle position. It's just not a middle position that is easily expressed in demonstrations on the street or in tweets. There is a middle position, and there's no question that people ought to talk about it and engage with it.
But do people talk about it and engage? We've been talking about a conversation about race since I was in diapers, I think. And if it didn't happen in the wake of some of these killings, is there any expectation it's going to happen under Donald Trump?
Sure, you would hope that it would continue to grow as a nation, and you would hope that Donald Trump is able to bring us together in a way that, sadly, Barack Obama was never able to do.
What's the evidence of that he could do what Obama could not do?
I don't know. I mean, I think, again, it's about promise, and I think the challenge we have is perception has become a reality with regards to the division, particularly around some of the communities of color in the police departments, and that's a sad thing to occur. The communities and the police need each other. And I think police try to demonstrate that time and time again. It's a tough job to be a police officer. And you talk about escalating crime. There's escalating crime against police officers.
Did Barack Obama get on the wrong side of this almost immediately in Cambridge when he condemned the police department in my hometown?
I think he did. I remember when he did that, I was stunned because President Obama, anytime you would ask him any question about race, he would always say, in the first term, he'd say, I'm the president of all Americans. Or you'd ask him something specific about African-American unemployment numbers, and he would say, if I can do something that fixes unemployment, that lifts all Americans. So I think he did, and I think he was caught off guard. It was kind of the last question, and it gets thrown out there, and he answers, and it really blows up. But I think one of the things that we need to do in this country is, as you pointed out, yes, we've been having this discussion since I was in diapers as well. So we had this discussion in diapers.
The concept is mind-boggling.
but the issue here, in order to fix this, we need to be having a conversation when there isn't this big thing going on, when there isn't a cop who shoots an unarmed man or an armed gang person shoots a cop. There needs to be this national discussion that can happen when everyone sort of doesn't have the heat and the passion of whatever it is that happened. And that's the only way you can fix it, because anytime there's a big event, then people go to one side or the other side, and there's no constructive dialogue going on.
Speaking no constructive dialogue, we're running out of time, so I don't have time to say yet another year without any gun reform at all, even though 90% of the American population supports some modest reform. We decided, since I knew a lot of this would be negative, we'd end on an up note. We'll start with you, Judge. Do you have a prediction for next year? This is your Nostradamus moment at the end of the show, that is positive, that is uplifting, that's going to make people feel a little better going into the holidays. Obviously not.
Well,
do you?
Something with Mars. We'll discover life on Mars and immediately have a shuttle ready to go.
That's beautiful. And you're going to be on it.
I'll be honest.
I knew that. How about you, Michael?
I think President Trump will surprise 50% of the American public. I think he'll satisfy 50%.
Which 50? The 50% who voted for him?
He's going to surprise the 50% that didn't vote for him. I think he's going to be an extraordinary president. I think he's given a great opportunity here. And with a Republican Congress, things will happen in the first 2 years.
Mars, surprise for the 50% who didn't. How about you?
I wish I had something creative because, to meet
Mars.
Meet Mars, right. But mine is along the lines of what you were saying, is that I believe that there are times when you look at, whether it's in politics or in big companies, where someone has an out-of-the-box thinking and amazing things can happen. And, Donald Trump has been way outside the box in everything that he has done. And so I tend to look at life through positive glasses. And so I believe, okay, what's done is done. I think that there could be the surprise of amazing things happening because of this out-of-the-box thinking.
And if it does, by the way, NASA will communicate those to you directly. Jeff
Great things will
Gertner.
happen on Mars.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, good to see you.
Same-
Michael
same-
Sullivan,
thank
same
you, Jim.
Dan Lowe.
Thank you. This was wonderful.
Appreciate all
Appreciate
three of you. Thank you.